Well, joining us from Melbourne, Australia is political analyst Joe Siracusa. Good to have you back with us, Joe. The last shutdown began in December 2018 during Trump's first term and was the longest shutdown in US history, lasting 35 days. What makes this one different, do you think, and how long do you expect it to last?
Good afternoon, Oker. Well, it's probably going to last more than 35 days. And the difference is that Trump is determined to play this as far as he can, and he has threatened the Democrats by saying that he has an opportunity now to get rid of people, that is to finish the job that Elon Musk started when he started getting rid of public servants. There are 750,000 public servants, and of course millions of military, and none of them are going to get paid, except I think the ICE people have a special provision here. And the sting is in what happens next, and that is, for example, Americans, 70% of Americans live from paycheck to paycheck. So if they're not paid for a month or 2 months, they're going to be in a hell of a lot of trouble paying tuition, paying mortgages, putting food on the table, and they get very angry. This is why the Pew Research has showed after 20 years, Americans don't believe Washington will do the right thing. That's the majority of Americans, whether Democratic or Republicans. The other part of the sting is this, is that non-essential services includes data collection, economic data collection. So we have CEOs, investors, and even the Reserve Bank trying to will be making decisions based on no information at all. So they're flying by the seat of their pants. So you can see how this thing can take a nosedive. Of course, the president's worried about jobs. I mean, if he starts laying off people, and he will, then we're going to have a jobs crisis. So this is one of those things that could barrel down the road. And I think the other thing too, is that it's not a very good look for the United States of America to close down the government. That is, in a parliamentary system, if you can't provide supply, you have a snap election. In Trump's case, he's got numbers in the House and Senate, and he'll stay the course, and they're all blaming each other. And most Americans are tired of that game, as a matter of fact. And so it's very unhelpful, and it's quite unfair to the people who are going to be dislodged or inconvenienced and all the rest of it, and it can grow into something very serious. But I think the difference between this one and the first election is, the first administration, is Trump knows he can play this as hard as he can, and he's determined to do it. First time he wasn't sure how to do it. He went 35 days. That was enough of that. But this time he's going to play it very hard. And for me, like you, who watches the world all the time, this is very distracting and unhelpful. The president has an obligation to end the humanitarian crisis in Gaza any way he can, to stop the war in Ukraine any way he can, and to take care of world business. This takes the eyes off the prize, and the prize, of course, is stability. And what could be more unstable than closing down the American government? That is turning off the lights because you can't pay the bills.
As you say, Joe, there are around 750,000 federal employees who could be affected by this shutdown. And you alluded to it earlier in your answer, but some analysts are fearing that Trump may use this as an excuse to permanently lay off thousands more public sector employees. I mean, how real of a threat is that, do you think?
I think it's a real threat. His budget manager, head of the budget, used to work for the Heritage Foundation, which sort of foreshadowed all these job cuts. These people hate the federal government. They think they're doing all kinds of things they shouldn't be doing, contributing to DEI and woke and all the rest of it, which isn't actually true, as a matter of fact. So I think the president will deliver on this. And okay, he has a way of telegraphing his messages. He's in a way, he can't stop himself. He says to the reporters that you better watch what you're doing out there, because we can cancel these jobs. That's exactly what he intends to do. And so he's going to get rid of probably 200,000 people as we go down the road here. He'll say they're not necessary, whether it's museums or parks or whatever it is. I mean, a lot of these people are necessary. A lot of them do important work, like, they feed children at breakfast in neighborhoods in Chicago or in New York where they don't get breakfast. So some of it's just plain nutrition and things like that. But I worry that the president will take his eye off the important problems And he's going to have to deal with this. This, of course, is the tyranny of numbers. As soon as you get 218 votes in the House, you can do whatever you want, impeach anybody you want. As soon as you get 51 votes in the Senate, you can do whatever you want. So what we have here is a classic traffic jam of what do you do next? And apparently, most of the people working in Washington don't really. I mean, that is in the Congress, and they're going to get paid, by the way. They don't think this is as urgent as it can be. But if you put all this together with the fact that over 70% of Americans live from paycheck to paycheck, you can see how this is going to start hurting people and provide a very dangerous domino effect.
Yes, as you say, the 535 members of Congress won't be affected by this shutdown, and they'll continue to receive their base salary of $174,000. We'll leave it there for now. Joe Siracusa, great to talk to you as always.